What's up, everybody? Back here for episode 45 of the Pitside podcast. I'm here with Roger Craig, taking a week off here, I guess, to kind of gather our thoughts. We got a lot of stuff going on, and I got to tell you, probably the most packed episode we've ever had. We've got a great interview with Derek Miller. We teased that a couple of weeks ago, and we finally nailed him down. That's probably the best way to put it. And we talked to him for a few minutes. And then Roger and I are going to come back and talk about all the new stuff for the 2021 fall season. So ton of information there. You're not going to want to miss any of it. So if you stay tuned, we'll get started here in just a minute.
Welcome to the Pitside Podcast, where we discuss the latest news and developments in the Coast to Coast Racing League, as well as other racing news inside and out of iRacing. Here's your hosts, the A-Let Outlaw, Preston Cranmer, and Roger, the Bassman, Craig.
Yeah, so we're back. Not going to waste a whole lot of time here because, again, I think we're struggling to just kind of gather our everything we need to cover in this episode. It's a good one. We've already kind of completed our interview with Derek here, so we're going to show you that here in a minute. But he's an interesting guy. We joked about him with it in the interview about name dropping, but you know he's led a pretty incredible life. He's been involved in a lot of things. I think when you look at it, that those dreams you have when you're a late teenager, he's kind of lived them all.
He's lived them all. He's lived them all.
He's lived them all. There may be some smoking stories in this interview you're about to hear. So there's quite a bit. We'll just leave it at that. There's quite a bit.
I'm predicting that this will be Terry Landis's favorite episode. This is one of the best, if not the best, interview that we've had. Derek's just quite a character, and just it was so. So if you watch nothing else of this podcast, make sure you watch Derek's because it's just killer.
Yeah, so I say we jump over to Derek right now. We'll talk to Derek for a few minutes, and then Roger and I will come back. And again, you're not going to want to miss this either. There's lots of new things happening this coming season, and so you're going to want to get clued in. Those things will get announced across our Facebook page here, or may have already come out, but maybe a little easier to digest in this format. So check that out too.
Or harder to digest. Who knows?
Yeah, depends on who you are. So let's go talk to Derek, and Roger and I'll be back here in just a few minutes.
And we're here with we've been waiting a long time to talk to this next guest, Derek Miller. Really excited and waiting for this. The background, it's the length of your arm. 2-time Juno Award winner. Toured with Buffy St. Marie. Recorded with Willie Nelson. A big part of the Friday Night Thunder, and on and on and on. And in his spare time, he also races sprint cars. So it's it's awesome. Great to have you on, buddy.
Right on. Thanks for having me here, guys.
So, how long have you been racing?
Oh man, I'm probably 2011, 2012 was when I started in Thunder stocks. And I was racing motocross when I was 15, 16, 17, 18. And I stopped and started playing music pretty good around then. So, yeah, always been doing stuff with motors.
Yeah, or music. Like the music, buddy, I'm telling you, it's kind of like I was a late bloomer with Tom Petty. You know, I heard probably about 10 years in. Yeah. And I started listening to stuff, and I had to buy everything that was out there. And it was the same thing listening to your stuff. I got to say, your stuff is killer, man. And of course, our theme song now, 10,000 RPMs. It's just everybody loves it. It's been great. But I don't know if I've only raced one official race, maybe in the last year and a half. It was at Weed Sport about a month ago, and you were in there. I don't know if you remember. I was in there. But I couldn't catch it. I was trying to catch it. I couldn't catch it. It was cool.
I remember. I think you beat me that race.
No, I did not. No,
that doesn't sound right.
No. You disappeared around the next corner, and I couldn't catch after that. So it's awesome to have you as part of the league. It's awesome all the things that you've been doing, but it's killer, man.
Right on. Thanks a lot. I have a lot of fun.
So we were going to do this interview last week, but then it turns out you're in Amsterdam.
Yeah, and
What
then
were you doing in Amsterdam?
I was smoking weed and on painting on canal.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll have
Drink
to-
a coffee.
We're
Drink
gonna
a
have to
coffee.
check the not made for kids box when we post this one.
Yeah.
Terry Landis is already a big fan, I'm sure. So tell me about what did you record with Willie Nelson? That's really got me.
I did a song I wrote, oh man, a long time ago, and I had Willie Nelson's kind of vibe with it, and just lo and behold, I was recording with Double Trouble, Stevie Ray Vaughan's band down in Austin, Texas. And I went over to Willie's place to do some overdubs and do some vocals. And we got the song to the groundskeeper, and Willie liked the song. So I went back down and recorded the guitar and with him, and he agreed to do a duet sort of thing, record some vocals. So that's what we got, was Damned If You Do.
Oh man, I got to go back and listen to that now. So
Yeah.
besides sharing a studio and stuff, did you share anything else with them while you were there?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We went golfing after he did his vocal, and we're out long ways, probably 200 yards away, and he pulls out this wooden club. We're like, what the hell's he gonna do with a wooden club? And next thing you know, he's packing it with weed, and we're smoking it on the golf course. It's pretty funny.
That's an awesome story.
Wow, yeah, that's cool. And touring with Buffy St. Marie, like that's just unbelievable, man.
Yeah, Buffy put me on the road when I first started out back in '99, I think it was. I went on tour with her, and she, gave me an opportunity to play in front of her, and it was pretty cool. Lot cool.
Yeah. Well, but you haven't just played in front of her. It sounds like Blood, Sweat, and Tears. George Thorogood.
Yeah, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. George Thorogood we did some shows with them. Played Montreal with Thorogood. Got to meet his saxophone player that played with Howlin' Wolf too. So pretty wild stuff, man. It's just nuts. I mean, I've heard Iggy Pop is a big fan, and that really blew me away as well.
Wow, that's got to be wild.
That's something.
Yeah.
And then and you've got the recordings in the Smithsonian Institute.
Right. I turned the Smithsonian into a record label. And we did a record called Rumble that preceded the film that's out now and has won a bunch of awards and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just part of what we're doing here.
Wow. Yeah, part of it. What do you do in your spare time, man? Because it's just
I race.
So tell us a little bit about Friday Night Thunder, because it's a spectacular series. You did the music for it. Like, what was your role in that whole series?
Well, Friday Night Thunder was a concept that me and the producer Laura Milliken worked together with. I start showing her stuff about Ashwegan and about Glenn, and one thing led to another, and next thing we're doing a TV show about Ashwegan and sprint car racing and the Native American families that are so associated with the sport, and Glenn being the godfather of sprint car racing around here. So it's been a really great discovery for me too. I didn't know how deep grassroots dirt track racing was, and the tight-knit community that it is, and to be able to give that to the people and show Schwiegen and the racers and that facility that we have, it was awesome. And to see APTN put that on their TV screens, that was awesome. And I'm looking forward to season 2 because we get to travel around to different tracks now because Ashwegan isn't open. But, it's been a very big blessing because it's helped us, get more relationships with the tracks in Southern Ontario and help promote their facilities as well, because we all want to be a part of helping dirt track grow, and
great
that's what we need to do.
Great exposure for them as well. So so you're recording that this season, like will they be down? So you're racing in Brighton this weekend. It's the long weekend at the end of August. I'm not sure if the Americans get this one, Labor Day weekend, or not. Preston, do you get a long weekend now?
Yeah, we do. Okay. We're off Monday too.
So they'll be down Brighton Speedway, and there's a ton of cars. I forget what the car count was last time I heard.
Over 60 sprint cars.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good show.
It is a good show. The Canadian Sprint Car Nationals that would have been last weekend that pulls in unbelievable numbers, but that's a great show, and it should be good. So where can people, like, I've seen it on APTN, but where can people see, like Americans, where can they see that?
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's only on APTN Lumi, their streaming channel. I think they can find it in America through that. So that's one of the only venues so far. We'll see what happens in the future, if there's going to be maybe an American channel that can pick it up, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. So, we'll see.
Is there a link or something where people could watch that, like streamed or anything? Or?
Yeah, it's called APTN Lumi, Lumi, and just Google that, and you'll get it in your Googleizer and click on the link.
We'll put it in the comments too, so if anybody wants to find it that way.
And we'll do some posts on it, because it's spectacular. And what are you planning for this season, like with that show?
Well, we're following more drivers. We're following the tracks, of course, the Action Sprint Tour, the Knights of Thunder Tour. We're following Glenn. We're following Hills Racing. We're trying to get down in the States a little bit more, following Alex. Trying to give more insight to what sprint car racing is, with the rules, passing points, just trying to give more general information so you can give the casual viewer more ammo to know what dirt track racing, sprint car racing is about, and helps build more fans.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. It's a great project, and I got to admit, when I first started going this weekend, I'm a Dylan Westbrook junkie, and it was sitting up there, and they kept talking about this guy that was like a Juno Award winner and all that sort of stuff, and didn't realize at the time, who it was. It was you and all that stuff. It's been great. When you came into the league, that was just awesome. So
right on.
How you been enjoying it?
I love it. I mean, it's the only place where you can just get some seat time and destroy equipment, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, just hit the old reset button, and
right,
and that's it. Yeah. So the other one is on. I thought I saw something on APTN about there was a podcast you guys were doing off of there was somewhere where you were sitting with Glenn, and I think Holly Porter was there.
Yeah.
So is that a podcast that you've got out, or is it a concept, or what?
It's part of the digital media content that goes with Friday Night Thunder. So we were supposed to put together some of that, and that was the podcast we came up with. Me and Glenn kind of host it, and maybe we'll do more. Hopefully we'll do more, but it's just supposed to help expand on the stories that are in Friday Night Thunder.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So typically we ask people here, I always ask the greatest memory in iRacing, but I'm going to have the two-pronged question here. So in iRacing, what is your greatest memory?
Oh, man, I don't know. I just so new to iRacing, but your first win is always pretty good. You suck at it so bad for so long, and then you get a win.
Some longer than others.
Yeah, some longer than others.
That's like a golf shot. You can suck for so long, get a good shot, and you're in hooked again.
Yeah. So And the other one I didn't mention is you closed the 2010 Winter Olympics. You were part of that big show and stuff. But
Right.
so from outside of iRacing and outside of sprint car racing, what's your greatest memory so far in all the things you've done?
Man, I mean, watching Willie Nelson sing your lyrics is pretty cool. I mean, being in the studio and doing that was pretty wild. I mean, and smoking the golf club with him. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. And how about, so let's go back to sprint car racing. I know I was watching when you were down in Merrittville and you won your heat down there, and that was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
what about in the sprint car? What's your greatest memory there?
Oh, man, I mean, again, I'm third year in. Winning that heat race was really good. That was the first time I won a heat race. I've been, like I said, sucking so bad for 3 years here. Getting some kind of win is really helps. I won a couple B mains too, but getting a top, I was P12 my last race, so I keep moving up a little bit. I'm hoping to get top 10 here in Brighton and maybe even further up. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, that's great. Continuous improvement, right? It's just always always moving up.
You mentioned you started in Thunderstock. Did you go from Thunderstock straight to the sprint cars?
I had a year off, I think, but because I had another TV show and I had insurance and they wouldn't let me race. So I had to wait until my TV show was done so I could race it. But anyway, I just went from Thunderstocks to crate sprints and just different car. I'm totally in the deep end, just trying to swim for the last couple of years. So learning the car, learning everything about it. I'm still like, it's a lifetime of learning.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I think I forgot about the TV show. I think you won awards for that as well. So I guess the one thing missing is the trophy on the wall from the sprint cars.
Yeah, man. I need one of these wins. Bad.
So the question I always ask that goes along with Rogers, and I'm going to ask you, I guess, twofold. I know you don't always have the opportunity to get out and race with us, but have you found within our league that you have a rival that you find yourself on track with frequently, or how?
Not yet. No, I mean, I haven't picked up anything like that yet, but I'm sure I will. We'll see what happens once I can get back on and race with you fellas and ladies.
So what about the real world? You got a rival, or is it a mental thing and you're just battling yourself?
I'm still battling myself and self-improvement and figuring stuff out like that to worry about anybody else yet.
Yeah, I liked your golf analogy. I think a lot of us have been iRacing so long that it's gotten to the point where each race is, your guys you're racing with, but it's just like golf. It's a game you play against yourself, right? So
right.
You finish P10 one race and P9 the next race. It doesn't really matter who was around you. You know whether you did better or worse. And I find sometimes I'll finish, I finish 6th, 7th, and I'm bummed about it because it just, I could tell I didn't race well. And then you might finish 15th, but you passed a bunch of guys and you ran well. So it's a good analogy, I think.
Yeah, right. And you got to be cool. You got to stay calm or stuff goes bad.
That's right. Yeah, I know that.
So is there any plans to record more? I mean, in the schedule of yours?
Yeah, well, within all of this too, I've been building my house, and inside that house, I'll have a recording studio and hopefully a live streaming venue. And it's also my garage for my car. So I'm just trying to get that together, and then I'm an engineer producer. So I can record everything on my own, and I know all of that stuff as well. So once I have time, I'll be able to sit in front of speakers and keyboards and guitars and drums and do all that fun stuff again. But right now it's build a house, race cars, make TV, make the music for the TV. So I'm kind of busy.
That's cool. So, and I know I keep on coming back to different things, but you just hit on another one. Is you worked with Daniel Langlois before, so was that in recording? Like, you must have learned a ton of stuff off him if you were.
Oh yeah, man. I've been doing music for almost 35 years. So I mean, I did learn a lot from Langlois. I did some work with him in this movie called All the Pretty Horses, the soundtrack. Billy Bob Thornton directed that, and I went to Oxnard, California, and where he was doing some of the music, and Jim Carrey would come and hang out with us. And he would have two French guys rolling joints for him while he was making jokes and stuff. So it's been crazy, man. Some of the stuff you end up at, and you're just like, what the hell is going on? There's Billy Bob Thornton, Jim Carrey, Daniel Lanois, and then Madonna's sister comes in. It's just whatever.
I have to tell you, we've had some, at least in the racing world, a couple of bigger name guests. I've never met any. We've never had a guest that could name drop quite like you. I'll give you that.
Unbelievable, buddy.
That's unbelievable. Just what was going on. I mean, it was just crazy. I'd go to breakfast with one of the biggest drummers in the world, and I mean, it was just blowing my mind at that time too, and learning so much. Like you said, it's just being around those types of people. You just learn and absorb and watch, and it's incredible to see people like that work.
So other than Spotify and that, where can people find your music? Because they need to listen to it, because it's just killer stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess the Apple Music, Amazon Music, all those streaming places you can find stuff. SoundCloud, yeah, on my website, Derek Miller Live. But I'm not so good at keeping up with everything and having things available. I'm kind of just like, I do it and then I move on. But yeah, I'm not so good at the business side of all of that at all.
Well, I'll tell you, I really appreciate, we reached out to you about the 10,000 RPMs, and you're so gracious in letting us use that. And it's a killer song, buddy. And just want to thank you for everything you're doing, and everything you're doing for Native Americans as well. So, and we before this podcast, we were talking about a couple of ideas, and I think we can come up with some cool stuff coming down the road. So it's been great talking to you. I've been looking forward to this for a while, but I didn't realize there was more name drop than I can even imagine.
Well, and so I'm going to drop another one. So I see you have an Art and Senna hat on. So
yeah.
Are you a big F1 fan?
Oh, huge. I was. That's one of the reasons going to Amsterdam. I was going to go to Spa, but I couldn't get in. I couldn't get in because I wasn't a European citizen, and they have this whole restriction. So,
well, that's a good damn thing. Looking back at it.
So I went to Zandvoort though too.
Did you?
The Dutch one, the track. I just went and drove a bicycle to the track just to look at it too. So that was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so is George Russell going to Mercedes?
Man, who knows? It would seem so, but we'll have to see what they say, what happens here.
All right. Well, I had to ask. I don't get F1 fans on here too often.
Bigger question is, are they going to crash Hamilton and Verstappen again? First turn.
Let me tell you.
I think first turn.
If they do, it's going to be bad. I don't know. There possibly could be rule changes if that were to happen again, because I mean, it's completely changed the points battle already, and if it happens again, it's going to be bad news.
Well, it's starting to bring out the old Ayrton, the Senna Prost battles, right? Like all of that sort of thing that was going on. That was kind of wild too. So we're seeing that again, kind of. It seems
it's good for the sport, though.
Yeah.
I would think if we asked them who their biggest rival was, it wouldn't take much thinking.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, buddy, it's been great, and we'll have to have you back to talk more, because it's just.
I'll come back, name drop more. Yes.
No, it's awesome, buddy. It's just thanks for your music. I've really found it awesome, and I really encourage anybody in the league. I know Greg Boydell's looking to where he can find the music. He's been asking about it, and but for sure, anybody that gets a chance out the Spotify or whatever, check out Derek Miller and the great music he has, and say hi to him when he's on the track with us. So
don't wreck me.
All right, buddy.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
It's awesome, man.
So that was pretty wild. I'm going to wager that there's probably a pretty large conglomerate of our league that are out golf club shopping right now.
It was great. I'm sure it's not your typical interview. It was just all over the map, and it was awesome.
He's a really interesting guy. I think we're
Totally.
definitely going to have him back, especially when
Oh,
we go
yeah.
to do, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but some of our special events that I think will
Yes.
fall right into his wheelhouse. And I think including him, it seems like something he's passionate about. So we'll
Yeah.
have to. Maybe I can't remember if we got to the end of that into the interview or if it was prior to the interview.
No,
But
it was prior. It was
yeah.
prior.
So anyway, some cool stuff will be coming, and I'm sure Derek will be pretty heavily involved. So. If you enjoyed getting to know him there, you'll probably get to know him even more here in the future. So it's been a big week. Obviously, championship week. We've crowned a few champions, and as we're recording this, a couple more have probably been crowned, and we don't necessarily know who they are.
No.
So the Thursday Night Thunder guys, you guys will get left out here, but I know Roger has got the list of champions for us to kind of acknowledge here on the Pitside podcast.
Yeah, so it's been a great week, a great season. We've had phenomenal car counts for a summer. We anticipated a lot less, and it's been great. Matinees, we've had great numbers. And we'll start off with Monday, the matinee, the fixed 360s, and a name everybody's familiar with. Lane Snook took that one. So congratulations to Lane. Unfortunately, Lane probably won't be a defending champion next season because he'll be in school and won't be able to make those races. So it'll help a few of us others that are out there. But anyways, Lane dominated that, and congratulations to him on that. And then we go to the our bread and butter, our premier divisions, the Outlaws. We were 3 divisions this season, and the Raiders division was won by Jamie McCarran. And congratulations to Jamie, first Aussie to win a championship. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit higher shipping fees for that one, but that's fine. That's totally fine. And we should explain there too, because if people look at the IRLM, they'll see Dan Blau finished first. A couple things on that though. One was Dan Blau just had a 253. We'll wait for Preston to get him there. Dan had a 253 IL, so you have to have less than that the limit in that division. So he was over by 0.03. Dan took it well. He handled all his class. But the other thing too was Dan had requested to go down to Raider so he could race with his sons, and so he shouldn't have really been there in the first place. But he asked, and we for sure. I mean, family first. So. He got a chance to race with his boys all through the summer, so that was awesome. He sent me a note afterwards, just thanks for letting me do that. So it was a win-win, and Jamie McCarran, I'm sure, is happy about all that too. So congratulations to Jamie, and a shout out to Dan. Then we got the Rebels division, and a name again you're familiar with, Lane Slick took that one. And congratulations to Lane. I don't even know if that was even hardly contested. And then we got to the Renegades. We had 3-time defending champion Stephen Goldner in the hunt going into the last night. But he was usurped by his teammate and former champion, Brandon Schultz. And congratulations to Brandon. It was good to see him come back into the league. For Brandon, I mean, it's all relative, but he struggled a bit in the beginning. He hadn't been iRacing. He'd been working with ABR Setup Shop and Alex, and had not been racing much, and it showed. It surprised me. He was not as dominant, but by the end of the season, he was dominant again. And those guys put on a great show. A shout out to the whole Renegades division. They've always given great racing, and a lot of those drivers will tell you, some of the best racing on the iRacing service. They're phenomenal. But this season in particular, we had incredible racing. And I know Marty, when he came on, we said, like, this racing's awesome. And he's a total believer. He has just been shocked by the quality of racing. And it's been awesome. So congratulations to Brandon. Then we'll skip Tuesday because it's retreads, and they also race on Thursdays. So Wednesday we had a new series, the Super Speedway series, and that was one. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm not guaranteed here, but Brady Floyd won that one. And then and that series we'll get into that later with all the changes coming up. And then Wednesday, Hometown Heroes. car counts, buddy. Can you believe the car counts we have had?
Yeah, and so I haven't had the privilege of racing a lot of the hometown hero stuff. I got to run a few races in the beginning of the season, and I know in any league, right, you get trail off as the season goes on. Guys that wanted to run for points end up ineligible or at a point where they can't catch the leaders and they give up. And so I got to run the 360 race Wednesday, or it would have been this earlier this week, and couldn't believe how many guys showed up for a 360 race the last week of the season. We had 5 heats and they were all packed, and there were lots of talented guys in there. But then you got your guys that that don't get to run with us as much. It's Hometown Heroes I don't get to run it as much, but it's one of my favorite things because it just kind of intermingles everybody, and there is a level of it's a little bit lighter, right? We're all there and it's fixed and everybody's having a good time, and it's been really great, and the car counts have been unbelievable.
Oh yeah, it's like family night at the local track, right?
Yeah,
it's been
exactly.
Great. And the 305s, the car counts, totally unbelievable. Last night I think it was 45 cars. So as you know, it's been well documented. I think I've raced 9 or 10 of them. It's not, I've been out there, and I had not made a feature all season. And that was the big kid Roger make a feature. It was his last chance for the big dance. And if it wasn't for your dad, and I forget, somebody got into your dad. It was in the B main, and I was running in the row 3, but I still figured I'm done. There's a bunch of good guys behind me. But I come out, I think it was about the second lap or something like that, come out of turn 4. Somebody had turned your dad, like they were both turned right in the middle of the track. And I ended up driving through them. Thank God, like Netco did. Like I must have driven through just after it kind of, cleared itself or whatever, but they were still on the track. So I ended up, I think it was P2 or P3, doesn't matter. But I made it to the feature. So it's unfortunate. I felt bad for your dad, but I was pretty pumped that I made a feature. That was tense racing for me. It's as I've explained before. Some guys, it's a feature wins big. For us backpackers, if we can just make a feature, it took me all season. It took me 10 races to make a feature, so it was a big deal. But it was great. But
I'll tell you, with those car counts, though, it was something, again, because I haven't run a lot of them, but it's something I realized the car counts make a big difference. Because even when you make the feature, I finished, I guess it was 4th in a heat. I was pushing 3rd, but still, when you got 5 heats, you're starting at the very back of the feature. It is not an easy thing to do. If you don't make it out of the heat, you've got an uphill climb. Which, you know what? That's closer to real life, but it's intense. It really is very intense.
We had, like you figure almost half the field goes home. Thanks for coming out. Like I think there was a B and a C main, and they're both like 13 cars or 12 cars, and only 4 are transferring out of each one. It's just crazy, but. So it's been a total success, and Trent Verstraeten won the championship there, and that's not trivial. Like I say, you're getting all these cars, all the competition. You can't afford to miss a feature. Like it's just so competitive that if you trip, you'll never catch up. So huge shout out to Trent Verstraeten on that one. And again, the 360s have been a great series, and another familiar name, Lane Snook. Lane Snook took home that championship. Congratulations again to Lane. And then the midgets, it came down to like 3 points, I think.
It did. It did. I admin that race and was kind of in communication with John Hine, who was in the booth, and Joe White, who was obviously broadcasting for us. And I got to the point where even adminning, like, there were a couple of points where I forgot I was adminning and forgot to make some mentions. And because I just got so engrossed in the race, because those guys did a great job of acknowledging who was in the points battle and where they were, and it was really something, because we had no idea until I punched those points into the system who was going to come out on top. And it's one of the nice things about a drop week, right? It's fair to everybody, but it does add a level of intrigue, because it's not as easy really to just calculate in your head, And so I calculated and wasn't sure, and sent John a message, and I think he had kind of figured it out. I'm sure he had done some calculations in his head, but that was a tight race all the way up to the last lap.
I was talking to him today, and he was saying, like, even when they lined up for the podium shot, and he bumped into Steven Speed.
I know.
He was thinking like that's 2 points off. But I think the race was over. But still, it's that critical. Like you can't miss anything. The one bang during a caution lap, and somebody hits you, there's 2 points. Like, it was like going into that night. I think who was chasing him? I can't remember, but Jack Hitt maybe.
Yeah.
And he was fast qualifiers. And I think he was third, so he says I'm already 2 points down. It's just it was incredible. So
and that was cool insight to hear from John, who's in the race on the broadcast, because I'm not thinking about that really, right? So he's already like beat down a little bit, like I'm losing, not, and he was still in the lead, but he was losing ground, and it's wild because let's face it, you and I aren't in points battles a whole lot, or at least that matter for anything. Who cares who's battling for 17th? But those guys are thinking about those things throughout the entire race, especially when we get to championship night. It was a lot of fun.
No, yeah, it was great. So. There was that, and then this afternoon we had the fixed 358s, and that was Greg Boydell won that. So
the Iron Man,
Iron Man, Greg Boydell pulled that one off, and then for the retreads, I did see, the back to back, Greg Boydell. I'm pretty sure. I need to go back and check the numbers, but I think Greg had enough of the lead to do that today.
So Greg is the retreadiest of all the retreads.
Yes, he is. He is. So and we've got something to say about the retreads going down the pipe there too. So congratulations to all of them and the 2 drivers who won tonight. I know David Garman had a pretty commanding lead. I think that was in the pro lates. The dirt mods, Justin Sick was in the lead. I don't know. I think that was a little bit tighter. So that could have been an interesting race. So, and we still got the pickups tomorrow and the NASCAR Cup Series, the NASCAR Trail. We'll get into that a little bit. And then Sunday night, we can declare it now. Congratulations to Bob Light. Bob.
We could have congratulated him 5 weeks ago. Don't say.
Well, no, he was trailing because he missed 1 week, and Jeff Hayworth was leading the standings for the longest time because
really?
It's so tight. Yeah, but the cream always rises there. But it was interesting last week. Bob Light, a shout out to Jeff Barker, the Brewerton Beast, winning one of the Roadrunners races. Bob Light evidently blew his engine up. I went by, I saw him like parked in the pits, so like, what's going on here? And he had blown his engine up. So
I always suspected there'd be some reliability issues over in the Light camp. They're pushing that engine that hard all season. They're going to blow it eventually.
I should have sent him to Tech, really. I mean, we kind of missed the boat on that. But it's been a great season, and just kudos to just everybody out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I want to take a minute to thank our broadcasters too. Marty stepped in this season and done a fantastic job. He took everything we threw at him in stride. We tried some new stuff, and frankly, when it came down to it, when we wanted to try something new, we threw it at Marty first. And I don't know why that was. It just kind of worked out that way. But he never blinked. In fact, he would take something and he would run with it. He's done a fantastic job. Joe has done a great job. And then we've had, a couple of guys step in too. I think Sean, I don't remember if that was this season or at the end of last season, but, he pulled a couple of extra shifts for us, I guess. And then Rudy Cummings from Max Speed TV, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But, he helped us out too for our charity event. And so all of those guys, we appreciate them. Obviously they get paid, but even still, we ask a lot of those guys. We try to put on a professional broadcast as much as we can, something like you'd watch on TV, on Flow Racing or whatever the case might be. And those guys, they do a bang-up job. So just want to give them a moment for them just to say thank you, because they, without them, we're in a totally different place.
Yeah, and also a huge shout out to John Hine and Nick Vickery, who's stepped in the booth, and he's just killing it too. So they've been great. Joe's really enjoyed working with those guys, and I think it's it's up the broadcast makes it it's a different dimension. And with John going out in the track, and I've been paying attention to what he says to pick up a few tips myself just to enter the race. So it's been great, and a huge shout out to them for sure.
Yeah. So another thing that we try to do each week is cover off our new drivers. So I've got a list of new drivers for this season. The first one is the 017 of Tyler Schultz. I've been seeing a lot of him lately. He's super fast. The 737 of Bruno Latour. Now, I haven't seen him on the track, but I know he's been very involved and gotten involved in like chat and stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
Then we have Max Stevenson, the 090, the 711 of Cale Nicholson, and then the 789 of Cale Bixler. This is Steve Bixler's son. So somehow, after all of this, we have added yet another Clarence, Iowa driver. Now, at some point, we're going to saturate that market. Like, there's only so many people. Let's be honest. There's only so many people that have a computer in Clarence, Iowa. No offense to anybody. But they can't all be on iRacing. So we got to be reaching that diminishing returns point in Clarence, Iowa.
So, but an extra shout out to Cale, because Cale, although he's from Clarence, Iowa, he is in Germany right now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, yes, he's a member of the armed forces. Serving the United States well, and it's refreshing. So there's dad and son racing each other halfway around the world. How cool is that? Yeah. And he's been in a few of our races. We give him some day passes to the retreads just so he could race with his dad. And super clean racer, and but it's a pleasure to have him out here. And I'm trying to remember what race it was. Yesterday or whatever it was. Anyways, the first second was Cale and Steve chasing him down. I haven't seen Steve drive that well in a long time. Like he was
extra motivation.
Extra motivation. He was looking at the tail tag of his son. So it's cool to see. But yeah, and a couple more guys for the father-son league. So it's great.
That's awesome. You know what? And something that really always sticks with me is I don't know about other leagues because frankly I don't have time to run other leagues.
Yeah, I know.
But I gotta imagine we've got to be up there. We have so many service members or former service members in our league, and I love it. That is fantastic. Yeah. So the more we can do for those guys, and I think we've got some events coming up for them this coming season. So that's really cool. I'm glad he's able to run with us, especially in Germany. There's a time difference there too, so that's probably makes things a little bit more complicated.
Oh I can't. So, but it's been great to see him out there, and like I say, super clean driver. So way cleaner than the old man who's like I gotta watch for the tail tag. So it's
yeah. So I say we start diving into all the fall season announcements.
Yeah. Yes, so stay with us here. There's a whole pile of stuff. We've been hard at work for months, actually, just getting all this stuff together, and it's all coming to fruition.
And I want to clarify, there's a very good chance that Roger and I leave out some sort of detail. So these are going to be posted on both our Facebook page. There'll be a link to a document that includes all of this information, plus some, without a doubt. And you can also find it at our website, c2crl.com. So go there. Listen, definitely, we'll tell you all about it as much as we can. We're going to miss something, so make sure you go and read that document as well.
Yeah. If you go to c2crl.com, the pop-up should come up, and the pop-up takes you directly to all the changes. It'll also be in the upcoming announcements, so there's placeholders there for the whole thing. So let's get into it. The one thing, some are big, some are just minor, but we're going to cover them all. Broadcast. We want to talk about broadcasts. That going forward, we are not going to put every night there's a race. I've got to put up a post and the link to the placeholder on our C2CRN. This coming season, it'll just be we're linking you to C2CRN. We need you to subscribe. So once you subscribe, you get notified every time the races come on. You don't need to be worried about checking and finding the links and all that stuff. It's just one-stop shopping. So that's a change we're going to make is, you need to subscribe to C2CRN, and that'll
click
up really good.
Click that notification bell. And what I ask is, for our drivers, any race that you're in, go and click the like button. It's not going to harm you at all, but it just helps get our stuff out there. And realistically, the most that's going to happen is more people are going to, the more likes we get, the more that gets put out to people that don't already subscribe to our league. So you'll get seen more. So if you guys can make a habit of doing that, that would be fantastic.
Yep. So the other thing too, I want to address the elephant in the room, I guess we'll call it. Like with all the good news, some might take this as a negative or whatever, but we're after 9 seasons, we're going into our 10th season. We need to implement user fees. So what we'll be doing is each season, it'll be $10 a season per member. What that will do is help cover off all the expenses. A lot of these expenses have been covered off by individuals. Then we've also had to use sponsor money for this stuff. So that will be having user fees, $10, and that will cover all the. Don't forget, we have over 200, almost 250 races a season. So it's a ton of iRacing credits, let me tell you. And most of them, there's a few of the the 50-cent ones, but they're mostly like up in the $1.50, $2 to make sure we got enough time to get everything in. So that adds up. It'll also be to cover off trophies, our website. There's fees for website GoDaddy, and then paying for our domain name. So the shipping fees, that we're going to cover the shipping fees for all the trophies now. So it's all that money will go back. We're also bringing out a couple of new twists or new features. So you want to talk about those, Preston?
Yeah, for sure. So I want to first say that one thing before we get into the new stuff that Roger's not telling you guys, but a lot of the stuff that he's just listed, not all of it, but the majority of it, he's been covering out of his own personal pocket for 9 seasons. It's not come from our sponsors. Because we needed to make sure we paid our broadcasters and all of that. So Roger's been covering that himself. So that's essentially the reason we're doing this at this point. It's gotten so the league's gotten big enough that it's not feasible for one person to pay for all of these things. So we want to cover that off. But we're going to make it worth your while as well. So the plan is we're going to also, for our feature winners, if you win a feature, now you get 1 per season. So if you win... Let's
one per
say,
division.
Excuse me. Yeah, thank you. 1 per division per season. So if you win a Renegades feature, we're going to send you a Coast to Coast Racing League feature winner sticker. And then you win, let's say you win the Dirt Mods a couple nights later, you get one for that too. So you can really still rack up some goods there. But, if you're winning every night of the Renegades, Brandon Schultz, just to call you out, we're going to send you 1 sticker for that, essentially, just to kind of keep that manageable. But we'll send that out to you. There's no cost to you. You've paid your driver fee. That's just going to come to you. No shipping, nothing. And then we're also going to do our driver of the week. So there's going to be a prize for that, too. It's looking like it might be like a mug or something like that, but we're going to send you something. We're still kind of nailing that down and determining what the best option may be, and it might be that we turn out that there's a couple of options you can pick from. So but again, if you earn driver of the week, that's across our entire league. So if you're the driver of the week, you'll get a prize for that, and you do get one of those a season too. So that's a little bit different, where obviously you could win multiple features over the course of a season. Or driver of the week, if you win driver of the week for the first week, basically you've won your award for the season. So we'll pick a new driver each week throughout the course of the season.
Spread the love.
Again, this is what we want to do user fees for. It's not a matter of like we're just trying to put more money in the league funds. It's we want to be able to do things bigger and better and provide a more, I guess, real life experience, right? I mean, we're still not a money league. That's not an option for us at the moment. It's not something we're considering, but this is going to allow us to give you some, we'll call it prize money of sorts. So we're gonna pay out to you that way, and so you guys will get some prizes through paying those user fees as well.
Yeah, and the other thing we want to do through that too is recognize all our volunteers, because there's people that put tons of hours. I'm talking tons, like 20, 30 hours a week from some of our reviewers and stuff. So we want to recognize that they'll be exempt from user fees. And if anybody wants to help out, volunteer, once you've done a full season, your user fees will be covered. And same with sponsors. Sponsors will not have to pay user fees if they're racing in the league. So, and the other thing to mention too is all that money will go back. So it's not going to go anywhere else. We'll have a bit of a contingency fund out of it, but once that's there, we may have reward. We'll have more prizes than what we're doing here. It'll all go back to the drivers. It's the drivers' fund. I know I've seen some leagues that charge $10 a division, so I don't think this is excessive. I think when you look at what other people have to put out to keep this thing going, I don't think that's what we provide. With 20 different divisions and 8, maybe 9 broadcasts a week. I think people are getting their value for the money. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like it's not an uncommon thing. I think we're probably past the point where most leagues would have stepped up to that point, and we've avoided it as much as we can. But we've reached the point where we need to cover some of the stuff we're already paying for, and we just need to keep growing. And that's what we try to do at the start of each season, is figure out. We don't want to expand everything as quickly as possible. That's one thing Roger and I have focused on each season, is making sure we don't overextend ourselves. And now we're just at this point where we can use something like this to grow our league and make things just a little bit better. And I think in the end, I think, like you said, there might be a little pushback. Guys might take this as bad news. But in the end, it's just going to do nothing but make our league bigger and better. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, all that money will come back. Right, so it will all come back.
That's right.
So I think it is a good thing. But speaking of good things, another big development is fine. We talked about this last season and never got a chance to really get it off the ground. It's the Coast to Coast Speed Shop. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're going to be coming out, and this is along the same lines, but we'll be using this. We're going to start selling merchandise, right? So if you guys want a league shirt, and I've got some plans, there's things going to be down the road a little bit, but we'll start out. You'll have some options where we'll be looking at T-shirts and mugs, stickers, that kind of thing. They'll all be affordably priced. Everybody did. I was very encouraged by the participation we had in buying the Brody T-shirts that we had for this last event. I think we sold a little over 40 T-shirts, which is fantastic, right? And that's the thing. I know guys got on board with that because it benefited Brody, and that's the right reason to get on board with it. But we're going to give you guys something that's a little bit more just recognition for you running in the league. There will be some. I don't want to announce anything particularly, but towards the end of the season, we'll have new stuff too for that will acknowledge champions and finishing orders and that kind of thing. So there'll be a lot of stuff out there for you guys to get, and it'll release over time. But initially, we'll have some T-shirts and stuff, a couple of different things. Roger and I are still working on finalizing that, but for you guys to purchase if you want to, and like I said, the prices won't be exorbitant. So I think. Everybody's probably been pretty satisfied with the way we've sold stuff so far. Outside of Justin Sick, I want to issue him an apology on the podcast. He's been great about it, but we had an issue just to make mention of it. He put his apartment number in, and I guess the printer that we use for whatever reason had some kind of new system, and they didn't accept his apartment number. So he was one of the first people to order his Brody Sim T-shirt, and he just got it today. So he was, but other than that, all this stuff turns around pretty quick. I think everybody got theirs within about a week of ordering it. And please keep in mind, these get printed as you order them. So that's one of the reasons we're able to do this is that they get printed as you order them. So we're not having to buy back stock or anything like that. So you'll have to check that out. That'll be released here in the next week or so. And we'll make a big deal out of that too.
You think Justin lived in Canada with that kind of delivery time, But
yeah, I know.
We got our shirts in pretty good time too. So
yeah, you did. Justin ordered his shirt before you did, and then just got it today. Yeah. And that was the thing I was watching because we did have a few people from Canada order it. I used a different printer this go around. Just so you guys know, that's something that I handle through Epsilon Sprint Wraps. That's something that a service that I provide there because I do graphics for drivers and other stuff. But I used a different printer, and that seemed to work well. So that's one thing that I'll ask you. If you do order something and you run into trouble, let me know because I can handle it on the back end a little bit easier than if you're filing claims and stuff. It was what I did with Justin, and we were able to get it worked out. It wasn't as quick as I'd have liked, but anyway, we'll worry about that later.
Yeah. And the other part of that too is all our partners will be on there. So Dylan Westbrook Racing, um, uh,
Cool, Ray.
everything, Cool Ray. Everything comes as a blank now. Cool Ray with all their Xfinity apparel and stuff. Uh, Empire Super Sprints and Dirt Car Series have a link, and they've got some killer merch that you can buy there too. So it's not just about us; it's about going out with our partners. A&J Custom Creations. He'll have all his trophies and various things that he sells. SBGC 3D printing. They'll be on there. So if you wanted to order anything from them, so it's an opportunity to partner up. Icon Sim Sports, all of those. So I think it's going to be it's one-stop shopping, and I can't wait to order my shirt, and I want a mug. I can't wait for my mug. I've been wanting a mug now for about 3 seasons. So
Yeah, and you know what? That's what I'll say too. If there's some kind of product that you want with a Coast to Coast Racing League logo on it, let me know and I'll see what I can do. I don't know that I'll be able to turn it around right away, but we can work that out and we can make sure you get something. So we got a lot of options. It's pretty cool.
yeah, and kids sizes too. That we got to make sure whatever size or double XL, whatever whatever your COVID body fits into.
Most of the time, with T-shirts at least, I can get up to 5XL. So we'll just leave it there. I don't want to say anything else and offend anybody, but we'll just leave it there.
So we've covered that off. We've got a whole bunch of session changes that are coming up. So warm-ups now will start. All the dirt races will start at 1:45 the hour. And the goal is to be in qualifying by 10 after. So especially the broadcast races, they'll come on right on the hour, and we'll be into qualifying at 10 after. Going along with that as well is we're going to reduce the warm-ups I'm talking about warm-ups.
Yeah, warm-ups, right.
Yeah. So that was practice.
Right.
We were talking about practice opens, doors open at 1:45. Warm-ups before the feature will be reduced to 3 minutes across the board. So I think guys will be happy with that. The other one we're going to change is whether it's a single or double file restarts. We've always used single file or double file back. That's iRacing terms, which means anybody that's been lapped always starts at the back. It gets frustrating for some people because you can pass the same guy 5 times if there's 5 cautions. You keep getting sent to the back. So there's 2 benefits of that. One is that those guys that get lapped can work their way through the field and potentially get unlapped. The other side of that is if the leader has lapped the car, well, now on the restart, that guy won't go to the back. He'll start behind the leader. And if the leader had to work by him, so does everybody else. So we're going to try that. I think it'll work out well.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll say about that is it is still the responsibility of the lapped car to make sure they're not in the way, right? So it's if you are a lap down and you're in the middle of the pack and there's 2 guys fighting for a position, the rule isn't that you have to move out of the way. But if you do cause a collision and somebody gets taken out, there obviously penalties ensue from that, and that is taken into account, right? So if you're a lap down and you take somebody that's leading or fighting for the lead out, penalties get harsher that way. So just please be aware that the admins will still try, and it's something when I admin I'm terrible about, but admins will still try to let the lap cars know as the leaders are coming. But once you get mixed in the field, it's your responsibility to know where you are and make sure that you're not wrecking anybody or anything. So I would say that there may be a reason to allow lap cars to ask for an EOL, so we might have to figure that out. But that'll be something that comes down a little bit later as we work into this and figure out how it works the best way. But I think this will be a definite improvement. I know in cases guys go a lap down, it's a kind of a funky, fluky issue with iRacing where they got spun out and the pace truck passes them, but the leader doesn't, and all of a sudden they're at the back of the field, and they just get kind of screwed. So this should help that, at least mostly.
Yeah. And the other thing, finally, that we're doing the session changes is, and we've been doing it a little bit this season, is a 12 incident point limit for all dirt divisions. So, we're just on this path to try to clean up the racing, and this will be one more factor that'll that'll help. So just watch your incidents in the races, and especially on those cautions, that you're not banging the guy in front of you and everybody's getting incident points and getting ticked off. So 12 incident points max.
Yeah, and the only time that'll ever vary is when we have special events or anything that goes over our standard lap count. Then we'll provide an adjustment for that, because if we're running a 50 lap feature, 12 incidents is still quite a bit, but we want to make sure that nobody's getting disqualified because somebody tapped them a few too many times or something like that.
Yeah. Penalty point system. So we had sort of a form of this a couple seasons ago. It didn't really work. I don't think people were kind of understanding what it was all about. But so we're bringing back a new penalty point system. The main thing is, I think, some people just don't get it, even though they get penalized, or they get sent to the back, but they're such a good driver they can pass everybody anyway. So I start at the back, big deal. So going forward now, there'll be two variations of this. So every time you get a heat EOL, it'll be 2 points. If you get a feature EOL, it'll be 3 points. So now in a division, if you accumulate more than 8 points, you'll be sitting for a week.
It's actually 8 points or more.
8 points or more,
right.
You'll be sitting for a week. Yes. If you accumulate over 12 points across all divisions, you'll be sitting all divisions for a week. So I think it's another effort to clean this stuff up, and it's some people still haven't got it, and I think this will help. So.
I agree, and I think what it is there's a inherent weight that goes with the penalties now, because a heat EOL for me isn't equivalent, and I'm just picking a name out of the air, so please don't. I'm not accusing anybody, but a heat EOL for me isn't the same as if Stephen Goldner gets a heat EOL, because Stephen Goldner's starting in the back of a heat. He's pretty much going to run to the front. But that's not easy for me. So there's an inherent weight that goes with those just by a skill level, and this doesn't eliminate that, but it does level the playing field a little bit if people are starting to accumulate too many points. Again, just to clarify, I'm not accusing Steven of anything at all. Just picked the name out because I know he's far more talented than I am. But it should help that quite a bit, because I know that's been our complaint from some guys is. It seems like there's guys out there that just don't give a crap if they get a penalty, and that's a little bit fair, right? I mean, if it doesn't affect you the same way it does somebody else, then why should you bother? So we're trying to level that playing field a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to want to talk about some division changes. I was just trying to look at my notes too, but I'll wing this.
I told you we were going to forget some stuff.
Yeah. So the one thing with the Outlaws is we're bringing back the Rustlers division. We took it away because we knew the summer would be smaller numbers, although we were getting great car counts.
More than we expected, for sure, yeah.
More than we expected. So we'll be starting the Rustlers division. That will run 8 o'clock on Tuesdays, and it'll be fixed 360. So there's a few guys that aren't comfortable in the open setups or don't have access to a good setup. So some guys are just more comfortable, racing in a Rustlers division, or if you can't keep your IL below 250, 0.025, you'll be down in the Rustlers division. So, it's it'll level out the racing quality, and should help. So along with that, Wednesdays we had the fixed 360s again on Monday. The retreads will run on Tuesday. On Wednesday will be Wednesday will be we'll be doing fixed 305s. So it's kind of typical, like we run fixed 360s on Monday, fixed 305s now on Wednesday, and then we'll be running the 358s on Thursday, because that's what they run at night, and a lot of guys like to get the extra laps in.
And what time those? Is it 2:00 every day?
2:00, 2:00 every day. Yeah, retreads is 2:00 on Tuesday, but it's 3:00 on Thursday because the 358s run it too.
That's right, after Roger's nap.
It's hard to get through the two races, I'll tell you. So, and wouldn't be the first time one of the guys has slept through a race. So
y'all suck. Y'all suck so much.
So Wednesday night will be 305s. We'll open with the 305s. It's just been unbelievable. And the 360s. So they'll be racing every week for the 12 weeks, and then the third event will be a special event every week. So we're starting it out with the Hawkeye Challenge. Then I think third week it'll be the Toilet Bowl 100. We got an enduro in there somewhere. We got, anyways. I'm not going to list them all, but all the 12 nights are pretty well spoken for. And you haven't even heard this yet, but I think second or third night's going to be Red Cross night, and we'll be looking maybe awareness for some of the issues going on, not only down in New Orleans and stuff, but also in Pennsylvania today. I saw, and
New Jersey and New York,
yeah,
all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was suggested by
Excellent.
one of the members. Yeah, I think it's a great cause. So they'll all be special nights. We'll have Ladies' Night back, Father-Son Night, Veterans Night for sure. Veterans Night, absolutely. Looking forward again to Wednesdays. It's just great. And then Thursdays, we're going to go back to it'll be 358s in the daytime. Retreads will run the Formula Vs. They're just such a blast, and on all the little mini site like Brands Hatch we ran today, but it's the Indy course. It's a subsection of the big course.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. So it's been fun racing. We've been getting we've had like 10, 11, 12 guys out racing them. So it's a real hoot. And then Thursday night we are bringing back the 358s. Dean Reynolds actually wanted to bring them back, and so Dirt Car Series will be sponsoring that, and we'll have that, and then we'll have the big block modifieds like we did 2 seasons ago. The only difference is they're not tiered, so you can run them both. You can run all those, and then run the Pro Late models at 9:00. So I think that's what's proven good. I think with Hometown Heroes is guys can run like 2 to 3 races a night.
Right. Yeah.
Not one. And the same thing with Thursdays, so that'll be good. Friday, let me jump to Saturday. So Saturday we had the NASCAR trail. A lot of guys wanted it. We're following the NASCAR wherever they are, we are. But it also meant buying a lot of tracks, and then there's a lot of road courses. And what we found was that's one place where the car count dropped to the point where like we had an Indy race and it was 2 guys showed up.
Yeah.
So it was time. And then last Saturday we went to Daytona, 15 guys. So we're running that super series we were kind of trialing on Wednesday this season will become the series on Saturday. So it's going to be 6 tracks. It'll be Daytona, Charlotte, Talladega, Michigan, at the iRacing Super Speedway, and one more. And we'll repeat that twice. Everybody pretty much owns those tracks. I think the car counts will be much bigger. So we'll be running the Super Speedway series on Friday with the pickups, the Pickup Cup, and Saturdays with the Piston Cup. So it's a little bit of a takeoff on cars, but anyway, my favorite movie. So it'll be the Piston Cup, and then Sunday nights a little bit of a change. We'll be running the SR8, which is a blast to run, but every other week. The other weeks we'll be running the Riley, which is like, I think it's a legacy car. It's $295, and I haven't driven it, but I know Jeff Barker had a bunch of guys testing, and they said it's a great car to drive. So it should be a great season there again. So those are the changes coming for those sessions. We could talk about, I'm maybe jumping around, the broadcasters. So on Monday, we got Marty coming back, which is great. Joe will be back on Wednesday with John Hine. And Rudy Cummings and Max BTV will be doing Thursdays. So that's awesome. And Sean Needstead, I've talked to Sean. I don't even know if I talked to you about this. I reached out to Sean about our special events, because I know he's still tied up with Houston Speedway, late in the season, and he had a lot of stuff going on with his sons, and but he couldn't commit to anything full time. But he may be doing our special events, so that'd be great, because Sean. So we got a great corral of broadcasters, man. Really, really excited about that. And again, Thursday night we'll be doing 3. So we'll be, as long as we get sponsorship, and we're on our way, but we still need a couple of sponsors. So that we'll be running those. We'll be running 9 broadcasts a week. It's crazy, but the demand's there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think we've gotten a good balance. You know, there was a season or two ago where we broadcast a lot of stuff, but some of the stuff wasn't well attended. We've gotten a better gauge of what runs well, what you guys want to run, and what makes a good show on a broadcast. So I think this coming season with adding a new broadcast team on board, and it's going to be good. Like I talk about growing the league all the time, but some of it is just consistent improvement, and I'm encouraged by where we're at with that. I think we're making the right moves, making the right decisions as far as divisions go. I know there was some talk about running a potential divisions on Tuesday night, depending on whether we have admins. Is that right?
Yeah. So, and you can talk about that if you want, or I'll just keep on rambling here.
Yeah, no. So I know what it was we were looking at potentially alternating weeks between the midgets and the wingless 360s. There will be some. I believe there's some midget events throughout the Hometown Heroes, but I know those are a popular division, not as popular as some other stuff. So we wanted to potentially provide an opportunity to run what would be basically like a half season, right? 6 weeks of midgets and then 6 weeks of wingless 360s. And now the wingless are hands down my favorite. I think I'm better at those than the wing sprint cars, but so we want to consider running those on Tuesdays after we run Rustlers. So if anybody ran Rustlers, maybe 2 seasons ago, they ran Tuesday nights, and then we had something else that ran after that. Now these are not broadcast divisions, but no. If somebody is willing to admin a race that evening, we will run a midget / wingless 360 division after the Rustlers go. So that'll give another opportunity. But we do need somebody to step up and do that. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to the league on Facebook or Roger or myself. There's a handful of other guys, the admins, that you could reach out to as well. But if you let one of us know that you're willing to do it, we'll get you trained. It's not terribly difficult. There's some routine you have to learn. But if you like that, then we'll set you up. We do request, though, if at all possible, we don't want our admins racing at the same time. It just gets a little convoluted. So if you find that you love running Monday nights and you're willing to pitch in a little bit on Tuesday nights, or maybe you get together with a couple of your teammates and you can alternate weeks or something like that, we'll make it work. Let us know and we'll get you set up. And if you want to do 3 or 4 races in a season, maybe we can make that happen.
And that's actually a great segue into it's out of order, but our volunteer coordinator that just got announced today, Joe Halter, or better known as Earl Wilson on Facebook.
If you've ever messaged him on Facebook, that he's Earl G.W. Wilson or Earl G. Wilson or something like that. GW,
and I don't know where that comes from. There's a story there, but so he's volunteered to be our volunteer coordinator, which is a really important role. So there's two phases to that. One is he will be coordinating the admins, making sure somebody's there every night, and ideally having a backup. Also recruiting new admins, and also he's going to be part of the process for the review committee. Basically, just making sure everybody's on time, and the goal next season will be to get pit notes out before noon. It's just the guys that are doing that are just killer, but killer, and it's killing them. They're putting in, and especially like John Hine, John Short. Those guys are just putting in extensive hours, and we're trying to take a bit of a load off them because they do a phenomenal job, and and we want them to keep doing a phenomenal job and not lose them out of burnout. So we do need people to step up to volunteer to review, but especially admin. We really do need a bunch of admins, and the goal is to get so every night we have somebody independently running admin, meaning they're not racing, and that there's an identified backup so that somebody's there.
Yeah.
And we don't nothing falls through the cracks. So so I'm looking for it. Joe's just a eager beaver, and it's right down his alley. This is the sort of stuff he does in life, what he has done. So it's is a perfect fit for sure.
For sure. And you guys saw him on the podcast a few weeks ago, I'm sure. And he's a great guy. He's easy to talk to. He's a fun guy to, just to hang out with. But he's got a mind for organization. And I think Roger and I both probably have what most people would consider memory issues. So Joe's going to provide a good balance for us and just kind of keep everything flowing. So Roger and I can focus on a lot of the stuff you're hearing about now. It's important to have ideas, and that's kind of what we're good at. And then we need some help implementing things. And that's why we need admins and reviewers and people like Joe and John and John. We got a lot of J names. It's getting kind of confusing. We might need to start petitioning some people to go to the courthouse and change their name. But anyway, those guys are important to us because it allows Roger and I to keep the league moving the way we need it to keep growing it. And so those guys help us with the day-to-day. And I'm excited. Joe's going to do a killer job getting all this stuff going, and it's just going to make everybody's life a little bit easier. So if you think you guys want to help out, what I'd recommend, if you're considering adminning at all, pick a night where you run, there's a division you like to run, but you don't run all of them. That's what I do on Wednesdays occasionally. I can't admin every week, unfortunately, but if I have the ability to, what I do is like for example, Wednesday night, what I wanted to run the 360, so I said, hey, I'll admin the 9 o'clock because I wasn't going to run midgets. So if you can do that on a week-to-week basis, pick a division you want to run and then admin the race after it, or the other way around. And that's a good way. So, you get your seat time, but then you can help us out too. And so if you're considering that, let one of us know, and we'll get you set up. Again, if it seems intimidating, I promise it's not. And Joe can be the one to tell you. He jumped right into it, and he's doing a bang-up job. So he'll get you set up.
Yeah, and for the admins too, just we're not going to throw you into the fire.
Of course
Zach Chapman's going to be doing a lot of the training.
Yeah.
And we'll start out. You start out with the easier leagues, and then just as you get comfortable, because it is intimidating. I mean, I've been there, and it's intimidating, but it can be rewarding. And we'll start you out in some of the lower divisions, and until your comfort level gets better, and it'll be great. So that's going to be a great position. Let's talk about week 13, because we're coming up, Sunday and week 13 starting. The notices have already gone out, but you need to be aware of Monday night is IL repair night. So this is something Preston came up with. It was a great idea, that what we're going to do on week 13, and how about we have the sprint cars come out on Monday night, run their own divisions they normally run. IL will count, but there'll be no points. So, and essentially we're adding a third drop week to IL.
Right.
So you can't do any worse than you've got. But there's so many guys. We had a tough IL season, and
outside of Renegades, that was something I want to mention before. Actually, it was probably better in Renegades than it's ever been. We had a really hard time. I was in Rebels, and so I can tell you, I had even a hard time. All the those tier divisions, the Rebels, Raiders, they were all really high. A lot of guys worked them down. Lane not discounted there. He had to work his down just to win the championship. But the Renegades did a killer job. I not to take a rabbit trail there, but those guys deserve a hats off for that too. Because theirs have been great all season long, and there was some disputes with the schedule being part of that. And I'll admit, we started off on a couple of tough tracks, and if your IL's high early, then you have to start working it down, and that's not always an easy thing to do.
No, and that's a good point. The Renegades, I don't think there's one driver being demoted.
I think you're right.
Driver.
Never happened before since we started doing tier divisions. That's never happened.
Yeah. But it also says the IL thing is working, because the guys that can run clean are being rewarded, and they're running in that top division.
That's exactly right.
Anyways, but so there's a few that are either fighting, just to move up a division or stay in their division, not be demoted. So here's your chance. So come out Monday night. And we'll still take the top 10 and transfer them. It's a regular race night. It's just there's no points involved, but it's a chance for you to get your IDL down. So this is like a gift, a free gift.
Yeah. And I do want to clarify a little bit just so everybody understands. The drop weeks don't automatically apply. You do have to appeal for them at the end of the season. And it is based on the number of races you ran. So if you only ran 8 races in a season, you don't get any drop weeks. It's just like points. Once you get to that 9th week, you can request a single drop week. If you've run 10 races, you can request a second. And now if you run IL repair night, you get to request a third. But you do have to request it. Well, it's not hard for us to go back and do the calculations, but it's not built into iRacing League Manager, and that's actually that's intentional because we do want you to request that. If you're not paying attention to it or something like that, then you're just gonna kind of go with the numbers that you came out with. So that's okay. There's no harm in requesting those drop weeks, and if you can send Roger or I a message if you're not sure where you're at. And you've got at least enough races to see where you are. If you potentially have a drop week, let me know, and I'll calculate it for you real quick and tell you where you are. I know there's going to be some questions coming up to whether you need to run the iRacing or the IL repair night. If you message me, I will do my best to calculate that for you ahead of time. But if you're in doubt, I would recommend you just get out and run the race because, like Roger said, you're not going to do any worse than you did before. Plus, you get another night of racing, so why not?
Yep. So that's going to be Monday night of week 13. Tuesday night we're going to race Tuesday night, and this has been a blast. I've tried this, and it's a blast. Mount Washington. So we're going to go. I think at 8:00 we're going to go up the hill with VW Lights, which is a free car, it's kind of it's not the way it was set up to run, but you basically all start at the same time, and it's kind of like you're all ghosted. You're all sitting in the exact same position, and then if there's like 10 of you, you all kind of you all kind of blow out of that one spot. So it's kind of it's fun. So it's we're going to do that at 8:00, and then we're going to go downhill. Like a soapbox derby, actually. It'll be the Formula V's with like 0.1 gallons of fuel, just enough to start you, and then you start rolling down the hill, and you'll hit almost 70 miles an hour in those things, and it's crazy. And there's a few things you got to look up. It's a blast, I'll tell you. And it's kind of like gliding, and not that that's on my bucket list to do, but just it's silent. It's just all you're hearing is the wind blow by you because there's no motor sound, right? Yeah. It's just some tires and wind. So it's kind of cool. So we'll do that Tuesday night. Wednesday and Thursday are going to be the Hawkeye Challenge qualifiers. So here's what we're doing. So we're going to add legends to this. So if you saw the father-son race, the legends are like they're just these little dwarf things that run out there. But we're going to have legends. We're going to have street stocks. We're going to have UMPs, dirt mods, pro late models, and 305s. So that week we're going to have a race for each. I can't remember the exact times, but Wednesday we'll run 3, Thursday we'll run 3, and if you finish in the top 4, you'll qualify for the Hawkeye Challenge on the Wednesday night. And the Hawkeye Challenge that's going to race on the Wednesday night, we haven't quite figured it out, but the winner of every class will get a gift. We haven't figured that out, but there'll be something there that everybody. It's not just whoever wins the race, but if there's like 4 legends, and and you finished a lap ahead of the other ones, even then you're the winner. So there's something there for everybody. It's a nightmare for Joe to kind of figure out and call, but he did a great. He
did a really good job last time.
Yeah, he did. So anyway, so that's the plan. So we'll have those on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday we'll probably run a NASCAR pickup and a NASCAR on Saturday, and Sunday we'll start the season. So with the Roadrunners. Oh, and the Roadrunners will be amalgamated into the Coast to Coast Racing League. It's always been a separate division, kind of like a few seasons ago we had dirt mods in a division or pro lates in a division. It just gets too complicated. So there's 2 benefits. One is we'll just have one league, much more manageable. Yeah. But the other thing too is all those road races on Sunday will be exposed to the 300 drivers in the league. When they look at sessions, they'll see that, and I think it'll pull more drivers out for those because they're a lot of fun to run those Sunday night races.
And Bob Light needs some competition, so y'all get out there. Y'all get out there and beat that dude.
Yeah, he does. So I'm not sure what we haven't covered here. Have I missed something?
Yeah, we missed one. We talked about Hometown Heroes, but we did not talk about what track it was going to be at. So we forgot that. There's probably 25 other things that I'm still not remembering. But the Hometown Heroes is going to be at Eldora this season. It was very close between Eldora and Knoxville. But we talked about that, and we will have some special events. Actually, we're going to have multiple special events. They're not all necessarily to raise money for charity, but at least we'll do some extra things this season. And at least one of those, if not more than one, will be at Knoxville. So we didn't want to run those at the same place we're running Hometown Heroes, just to not saturate it too much. So we're gonna run Eldora at Hometown Heroes this coming season. So didn't want to leave that out because I'm sure there's people curious about that too.
Yep. And how we came to that conclusion was basically that we had a vote for what tracks don't you want to race on next season, and we looked at the list and what are the ones that nobody voted for that they didn't want to run, and it was Eldora, Volusia, and Knoxville. Surprise, surprise. So, and the veterans race, the charity will be 358s this season, and it'll be at Volusia. So we didn't want to use Volusia, and like you said, we're going to run a Knoxville National Style race at Knoxville. It's going to be pretty cool. Be on a weekend. There'll be more coming on that, and it'll be for Every Child Matters. I guess I can mention that now, and been talking to a few different people about that.
Can you, in case people don't know, can you tell us what that is?
So Every Child Matters. In Canada, there's all these residential schools back, when the land was settled and all that stuff, and the natives were, put on the reserves, and for lack of a better word, I mean, if you go back to it in those days, it was to take the savage out of the Indian. I mean, this is disgusting stuff to talk about. And maybe the Americans aren't aware of it. They found 200 bodies at one of the residential schools in BC. Then they found 700, not bodies, but grave sites. They found 700 grave sites at another school. And this is the tip of the iceberg. They figure there's going to be about 6,000 in the end. But there's a Mohawk Institute here in Brantford where a lot of those Native children attended. My wife remembers them going to high school, and they always kind of kept to themselves and everything else. And we'll talk more in detail about this. But and it's not just a Canadian problem, because the system that Canada used was based on an American system. So I mean, I'm sure there's some skeletons, huge skeletons in the closet there, but. Anyway, the problem here is this has been driving me nuts. Everybody's kind of mildly aware of it before, but this came out in the last few months, and it's just nobody. I never had any idea of the scale of it.
They make you sick to your stomach. I mean,
kids taken from their homes, like on reserves. Well, even Mohawk Institute, kids came from Sault Ste. Marie, the tribes up there, and that's I drove a car up there, and it was like a 10-hour drive. So back in the 1900s, like how far was that? Like, how would a kid get home? So anyways, needless to say, I feel this need to do it. I know there's Six Nations, and we have so many good friends, and Ohsweken Speedway and all the drivers there, and we want to do something special and recognize that. So that's what that one will be about. So you'll hear more about that later.
Yeah, absolutely. And Derek Miller, who we talked to a little bit earlier, is we kind of keyed into it when we were talking to him, but he's been involved with the Friday Night Thunder, which follows the Native American drivers that used to run in Ohsweken. They ran in Ohsweken when they filmed it, but I think he's going to be involved too. He actually was pitching us some ideas that were pretty cool.
Yeah, great ideas.
Yeah. So we're if anybody's interested in being involved in that, it's not something that affected me really personally, but if you take a couple of minutes to read about that, it's tough. And so if anybody wants to help us out with the event, that's something that we probably don't ask for very often, as far as planning and those kind of things, but. These charity events and recognition events, things like that we do are really at the core of why we do this. We get out here and have fun with our buddies, but it's just as important that we do something good with our time too. And so if anybody wants to help out with that, we'll make space for you. There's no doubt. So please let us know. We're in the early stages of planning some of that stuff, but just don't hesitate to try to get involved.
and we're in the final stages of just closing out the Brody Sim event, and I think I just had the all the door prizes. There was like 12 or 13 door prizes or whatever it was. Just finally worked through that with the guys. The guys are great about that, and I don't have the final number. We'll have the final number maybe. Well, for the next broadcast, we'll announce the final number
for sure.
I think it's safe to say it's over $2,500. I think it's just. I think we can say that, and that's guys. You guys are awesome. I mean, it's just it's phenomenal. That takes us over $9,500 we've raised as a league in just a couple of years. It is a great community of people that we have here. So sure. It's it's great. So anything? What else did I miss?
I don't know. I don't know. We've covered a lot. Frankly, I'm tired.
I figure anybody's made it.
Who's still watching? If you're still watching, comment in the chat.
If you comment in the chat, the Speed Shop will send you something.
There you go. You comment right now. Yeah.
The Speed Shop will send you something. So comment, and within 48 hours of the broadcast being out, they need to comment, so we know that they're not just somebody says, "Oh, go comment on this because you'll get something."
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if within 48 hours of the podcast, if you comment on it, and we're going to send you something. So there you go.
There you go. All right, guys. Yeah. Well, you know what? Good. We're going to let you go. We'll be back with episode 46, hopefully next week. I don't see any reason we won't. Just so you guys know, when things get busy like this, occasionally Roger and I just need a vacation for a week. So that's what happened last week. There's a lot going on. But that won't happen too often, so we should be back here with episode 46 next week. I don't think it'll be quite as packed an episode as this one, so we'll be a little bit more low down, I guess. But it's been fun, and go ahead, Roger. I can tell you just thought of something.
Yeah, I got one question for you. So what are your goals for next season? Your own personal goals?
Well, so realistically, I think I'm going to be back in Renegades, so I just want to be competitive. I would be super pleased with the top 10 in points in Renegades. And I would really like to get back to running road runners on Sunday nights. I enjoy that. I like the road racing a lot. My road racing wheel is still in pieces. I think we talked about that on the podcast, so I got to get that fixed. But you know what? I just want to get out there and have a season where I keep my IL down for most of the season. That's been a problem this season, and it's been always in the back of your mind, and it affects the way you race a little bit. So, I don't know totally, but I think a top 10 finish in Renegades is probably where I want to be.
Yeah. Okay. And mine is to make a feature in the 305s on Wednesday night again. That's my goal. So it's
and don't wait till the last week of the season next season.
No, it's just too stressful.
Frankly, you do it the first week of the season, you can take Wednesdays off for the rest of the season.
There you go. Yeah. I could maybe go up in the booth with Joe or something.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Anyhow, it's been great, and I can't wait for this next season.
And you know what? If you've already commented, we'll send you something. But put another comment and let us know what your goals are for the season too. That's a good thing to share. And if you comment that, we'll talk about that next episode as well.
Yeah, great idea, buddy.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you here next week, and it'll be week 13 by the next time we talk to you. So good luck.
Drive safe.